This is the future that your state.
High rise in downtown LA. It actually will be a high rise that will do some very cool things. We're getting our first look at it right now. Take a look at that. This is over in the historic core in downtown LA. We're told this is about 4th Street as well as Hill Street. It's called Beacon on the Hill. The very cool thing about this thing is that it's 33 stories tall.
Close to 20,000 new units underway in downtown, and where the population is expected to hit 50,000 in the next 5 years. That's compared to 10,000 in 1999. So the growth has just been explosive. And let's show you the 2 new groundbreakings taking place this morning that were part of a couple of celebrations. The first one is called Oceanwide Plaza, a complex next to Staples Center that will include 2 high-rise condominium towers and a 5-star hotel and restaurants and shopping. The owner of that development is Tohai Construction, a Beijing-based company.
Peep the plot.
Beijing-based company.
It's coming in 450 new apartments. Higher end, not ultra high, but we're looking at, probably $2,000, $2,100 for 800 to over 1,000 square foot.
We're going to add 4 million people to this region in the next 25 years. The demographic shifts, the rising cost of commuting, the rising cost of gasoline, energy, is going to kind of probably have people think again about their choices where to live.
So let me get this straight. We have scarce resources and are about to run out of water, so the solution is to add 4 million people to the area. If the state really cared, they would halt immigration to 0, citing that we don't have the resources necessary to accommodate new growth. But they are saying the opposite and are saying bring everyone in. Let's see what else he says.
We're a proponent for us planning for the future. We're a proponent for us coordinating infrastructure with how we're going to grow. In a great nation like ours, you can't let people do what they want. It has to be coordinated. In a great nation like ours, you can't let people do what they want.
First of all, he's not even indigenous. Like, I know it was crossbreeding and shit, but no, bro. No, bro. Universal law, bro. You're not even allowed to even be doing so. You're not. Not. If anything, y'all are dealing with stolen secrets. And you will always be missing the key. You thought you might have had a key. You'll always be missing the key to even make it work. It's not going to work out for you. Anyways.
It has to be coordinated.
So we're talking about your vision.
No, this is not my vision. We're not talking about my vision. I'm representing what the community came together and decided collectively.
I'm Susie Sarr. Top story here on KCAL 9 News at 8. Governor Jerry Brown is taking drastic action tonight.
I didn't come up with that. Shoot.
California's devastating drought. By executive order, Brown is requiring cities and counties to reduce water usage by 25%, the first such mandate in state history. The Sierra snowpack is at its lowest level ever recorded. On the spot at Echo Summit that averages 66 inches of snow a year, there was only dry grass on April 1st. Well, that's where the governor stood to issue today's historic executive order calling for a 25% statewide water reduction. KCAL9's Danielle Nottingham looks at the landmark water mandates and how the governor plans to enforce them.
We're in an historic drought, and that demands unprecedented action.
Seeing the lack of Sierra snow for himself, Governor Brown directed state water regulators to implement mandatory restrictions. The goal is to cut statewide water use by 25%. That could save 1.5 million acre-feet of water over the next 9 months, or enough to fill Castaic Lake nearly 5 times. To accomplish that, the governor directed local agencies to take actions they see fit.
It's going to affect golf courses, people's lawns, universities, campuses, all sorts of institutions, the median with vegetation on our roads and highways. It affects all of that.
Agriculture has borne much of the brunt.
The whole point of it is because they're going to move China in from through the Pacific. And part of it, they're going to be in Canada. They're already there right now. Reason why they try to keep it so cold, right? They actually have an island between Asia and Canada. It looks about swimming distance if you ask me on Google Earth. But that's when you know on the map, Asia's really hold on. Because the Western teaching came from Europe. So you would have to put Europe. I'm going to save that for another video. But yeah, Asia is pretty much right next to Canada. And there's like a little island, right? They probably have a base on it, most likely. If I had Google Earth, I'll look it up, but I looked it up last year.
Brunt of the drought, with thousands of fallowed acres and farm worker layoffs. The new restrictions require agricultural water users to report more water usage information to the state, so regulators can better find waste and improper activities.
38 million people from the Oregon border to the Mexican border. There's a lot of hands that have to pull together.
Danielle Nottingham, KCAL9 News.
The border is going to be patrolled by straight drones. And they have mini drones to huge drones that look about sizes of helicopters. They have all types of drones. You feel me?
Well, it's going to take a massive amount of cooperation for California to hit the governor's goal of a 25% cutback in water usage. KCAL9's Christine Lazar looks at what the executive order means for each of us.
Fed up with high water bills.
$213.
Susan Goodrich of Van Nuys is having her grassy front lawn replaced with drought-resistant landscape, just like the governor has now urged all Californians to do in light of this historical drought.
Well, I drive around, right? I see everybody with these really green lawns, and I don't understand how they can have that.
The governor's conservation plan calls for local governments to create a temporary rebate program for consumers who replace old appliances with new water-efficient ones, and significantly cut water use at golf courses, cemeteries, and schools with large landscapes. The governor is also calling on the state as a whole to replace 50 million square feet of lawns with drought-tolerant landscapes. 50 million square feet of lawn sounds big, but it really isn't when you put it into perspective. It's about 1,000 football fields or or since we're here at USC, about 5 times the size of the campus. Sarah Feekins is an earth sciences professor at USC. She says the governor's plan doesn't go far enough.
There are, of course, much bigger uses of water in the state, like agriculture, like fracking, where a lot of water is going, and so it's not really addressing those big issues.
But Feekins says residents must still do their part.
Personally, at home, I fill a bucket while I'm waiting for the shower to warm up, and then I use that for other things, like flushing the toilet.
As for Goodrich, she didn't pay a dime to make her front yard drought resistant. A local landscaping company called Turf Terminators utilizes the city's lawn removal rebate program. Governor Brown also talking about enforcement today.
The Blue Crew, better known as the city's water cops, have received thousands of complaints over the last year. We try to look into every single one. Rick Silva runs a response team and says everyone gets a chance to comply. That first violation is still a freebie. There's no financial penalty. He told us of all those complaints, only 50 have been cited, and of those, only 4 have been fined. And of those, none have paid. And as long as we get the change that we want, or to get them to comply, that's the main purpose of our program, and we're okay with that.
Saying that if cities don't reduce their water usage by 25%, they could face fines of up to $10,000 a day.
Tonight, California gets serious about dealing with the drought. Governor Jerry Brown is ordering mandatory water use reductions for the first time in California history. KCAL9 political reporter Dave Bryan joins us now with more on how the water cutbacks will work. Dave.
Well, Sylvia Lena, Governor Brown says California must cut its appetite for water by 25%, slightly more in some locations, slightly less in others, where cutbacks have already been made. And the issue of who's cutting back and who isn't being cut back is also being debated.
It's a different world. We have to act differently.
Governor Jerry Brown walked through a field of dry grass in the northern Sierra, a meadow that in normal years would be covered with snow, several feet of snow, but not this year.
We're standing on dry grass, and we shouldn't be standing in 5 feet of snow. That's the way it's been. We're in an historic drought, and that demands unprecedented action. People should realize we're in a new era. The idea of your nice little green grass getting lots of water every day, that's going to be a thing of the past.
Mandatory ration.
Life is changing. We really need to embrace conservation as a way of life.
People should realize we're in a new era. The idea of your nice little green grass getting lots of water every day, that's going to be a thing of the past.
We need 3.5 inches of rain every week for the next 12 weeks, times 3 years, with a good snowfall. And then we could probably start saying that we will see getting our levels back to where they should in fact be.
Could you restate real quick what you said earlier about the drought, how much rain we need to have?
It's not really the rain, because the rain, how they're going to generate the rain, it actually is going to start damaging the crops, because it's going to become acid due to all the shit they're blowing up and the chemicals they're using anyways, methane. So from that methane, it's going to produce acid rain. So really the rain isn't the problem. And then the clouds that they actually use, the plasma hits it and it drops rain. But that's for below, right? Because the rain drops below. What goes above is what's reflected from the clouds, because the light actually reflects right back up. It's kind of like a reflector to reflect the energy right back to where it came from. But when that happens, it just comes back even stronger. So really their plot with the clouds is to rebuild a magnetic field at the same time. But they know it's too many people waking up because they're allowing too much light to hit the planet and its people, right? Which deals with with your neurons and your cells. So when they duplicate more, you start to think more, right? A plus B equals C. A light bulb pops up, and you be like, It's just if you decide to go into it, or with your own discernment, or you decide to go against it. But all these people that's sitting right there, they don't even look normal. Like something with their energy just looks completely off. It's like they're sitting there trying to look normal when these people probably do meetings like this all the time. Like, I don't even think those are the people representing the body that they're in. I feel like someone else is corrupting them because a human being, a regular human being, wouldn't allow this shit, right? Unless they're too scared to die. Like, not saying everyone has a heart. I mean, everyone has a heart, but it's like some people choose money over righteousness. But the thing is, it will always eat a person up alive, making them want to quit or rebel against what they were working with. So that being said, these niggas look like they had a job with them for a while. I don't believe, I believe, this is for entertainment purposes only. But I'm saying, I think these are another type of being under these skins. Continuing.
Have for it to end?
I can just repeat to you what we heard at a conference in San Diego. 4 of the directors were there. We were at a session.
Like, how they're sitting there at this table just reminds me of Men in Black. And knowing that I'm not really thinking, like, about this shit, I know what my chakras are wearing right now. Because my third eye is going like, like, but anyways.
When it was going to rain that day. And one of the speakers who was addressing our assembly stated that we would need 3.5 inches of rain. 30 inches. 30 to 35, right? 35 inches. Yeah. Times 3 years with a good snowman.
Now, is that in Southern California, Northern California? Where's that at? Supposed to happen?
You can take it anywhere.
Well, what I want to know is, when has it ever rained that much here?
We've had some years that never rained.
But it never rains 30 inches a year here, ever.
The thing is, they have an old electrical system too. So really, what they're trying to do is cool off California, because California is actually part of a sunspot, right? And when I say a sunspot, is connected to where the CME lands. It comes around the 360 and 144 degrees east is actually the really in reality is it probably is 144 degrees west, but 144 degrees east, 0 north is actually the Pacific near California. So every time the CME hits around that area, it hits 144 degrees. And that deals with China also dealing with that impact too. What is weird to me is 77 degrees, which is half of 144 degrees, is India's Sea, which don't really make that much sense to me, but That's how you know the map is weird, right? Because my theory is, which I was about to draw out, just because I feel like it makes like a 6 point star with the CME sunspots that goes on the map, right? And these areas is most likely where they're manipulating energy, right? Because those sunspots deal with the alpha beta system, which is the universal cycle of the sun. So if it deals with the alpha beta system, then that means they're actually at these points manipulating these energies. So if there's anyone that's capable of taking them out, those are your points, sacred degrees, right? 144, 77, 72, 222, 48, 46. That's the Atlantic. Um, all types of shit dealing with 3, 6, and 9, right? But peep sacred numbers or like numbers that are significant to you that goes around the 360 compass because the clock is actually the compass of the sun, right? And the degrees and the hertz, they make geometrical shapes along the grid or wherever it's hitting. So that ties back to what the Egyptians actually, well, everyone's talking about the Egyptians knew. That's what they were actually uh, aiming towards because when you're dealing with natural energy, you have to deal with a cycle. It's the cycle of me, you, nature, the universe. That so it's like something to describe is like the Nikola Tesla 369. It's just he took those secrets, right? So it deals with above and below and the middle, just like you, and binary systems, the twins, A plus B equals C. You gotta find the light, or you have to find the energy between the light and the darkness. Feel me? The life force. But that's pretty much why, because like California has an old grid, so that's why y'all dealing with snow out there, you know? The electrical grid is too old to deal with the sun energy that you're about to uh with take. The thing is, you guys always had high temperatures pretty much every 9 years if you count from 2021 going back. Most likely, I haven't looked it up, but most likely because of the CMEs. It's just now that the firmament is breaking, right? UVC is hitting, so the UV index is actually higher. And when it deals with those machines and shit, electronics is going to get burnt out because really it highly affects it when the UV gets to 9 and above. The last three of the four, 9 through 12. That's when a lot of stuff will be getting impacted from the sun, which they peaked 2021. But CERN has been interrupting with lunar quotations and all types of stuff. And they've been changing up the cloud sequence, like barium and vanadium, right? Which deals with rhodium, rhodium or idiom or something like that. But I'm gonna say rhodium. I heard someone say idiom, but I'm sticking with rhodium because rho is kind of significant. Like rho sounds like Roman. Rho represents, I think, the ox or the bear. Rho is actually the constellation where the opening is actually is. Like they always use Rho for Sirius, and Sirius is actually a portal for Sirius A, B, and C. The light comes through that portal through light transmission, epsilon, and it hits the sun at a tip, which creates a CME, right? Coming from headquarters. So A plus B equals C. A plus B plus C equals M, the magnetics field. But A plus B plus C plus M actually equals X. Let's add it up. Like, it just comes right back. But we have a lot of more energies dealing with this. Even like the Orion's belt, right? Got Gemini a part of that, some more stuff like Betelgeuse. It's a lot of energy within that hexagonal. And then there's other ones like it's all coming together, making the power even stronger. But the thing is, while energy is being transferred to something else, they're trying to use that energy to blow up the sun. So they don't have to, so they can remain here on the planet. And since you see how they try to cool stuff so much, that will have to bring, that's going to deal with freezing the planet because of X flares. Like, usually is in the wintertime because of the high energies that's hitting. It rises as the year goes through. Feel me? But it's just way different now because the firmament's breaking. So a lot of the fake illusions is breaking, right? And as you can see, they have us in a chamber right now. It's kind of like the Holocaust. They have us in a chamber in this firmament with these clouds. And people get sick, respiratory problems. Everything they say are the symptoms, right? And then you can look it up and then it'll tell you. So it's not like it's propaganda. So then when it gets on YouTube and they give you strikes and community blocks for posting something that you're actually using from their words. You're just putting it together like a puzzle. Because if you have to make different alternates of one word, then you're making a whole riddle. So when it becomes a riddle, you're just playing with words. And it's up for us to figure it out. At this point, it's common sense, bro. Like, these allergies actually come from the clouds. It's just when heat hits the cloud, which is hitting all day long because of the sun and the stars, it generates cold. It's just heat rises, right? If anything, the heat from the ground is supposed to rise. That's the trick about the clouds. It interrupts a cycle. You see, like how the recycle symbol, it goes up and it comes down and it keeps coming around and around like a loop. That's how batteries work. That's how anything works with a charge. So when they do that, it actually interferes your cycle that you're a part of. Like the carbon cycle, hydrogen, the air cycle, the water, everything, nigga. Like, it interrupts it. Because when the cold falls, it brings the chemicals with it. Then that makes the air foggy. It even makes your windows dirty. The crazy thing is, if you were to scrape it all up, and if you could into a pile, it would have a magnetic charge to it. So that's when I go back to say that the clouds are actually going to be the EMP. The reason a lot of people cars is messing up as the engine takes in all those metals, it makes it acidic. Even with coolant, it makes the coolant acidic and can burn a hole through your filtration system. That's why you have to do an electrolysis check. The crazy thing about electrolysis, it represents your body. So the same way they made the car, they actually took that science from you also, right? Because electrolysis deals with red blood cells, but the lysis is actually the destruction of that, right? So dealing with the car, when it gets too acidic, it destroys the body, right? As it heats up. And the more heat builds up due to the acidic that's in the coolant, or what you would say the plasma, right? It's it's causing lysis, pathological blood destruction, deterioration of the radiator, right? Which can also interfere with your oil or any type of fluid that's in your car. And that's my theory. But I don't even think it's a theory at this point. But I'm just saying, like, if you got the money, get you an old car. If you got an old car, keep that thing. Talking about 1970s, right? Something with less electrical problems, or even like these little bikes they have, these mini bikes with less electrical on it. That might do you well. Other than that, unplug your battery when you see X flares are on the way. I'm gonna let this play because I totally interrupted. Can we zoom in on this? I hope y'all were able to see that. You can screenshot and zoom in. They are literally parasites, parasitical invaders. So if you want to see what they are, just look at how a parasite to your body is. Now think of them in a humanoid form. They can shapeshift and shit. Because what do? They manipulate cells to become a part of it. And once they become a part of it, they can shapeshift and all types of stuff. You feel me? It, which also actually kind of deals with light and shade, right? Anyways. Crazy thing is, the more they try to keep the planet cool, it's pretty much a whole other system with how our system is system up. So that means we're dealing with another sun. That plasma is just rising up. That pushes it back down, which makes it rise back up even hotter than what it was. So it's like, it's still gonna heat up. But the thing about that might cause earthquakes. You know what I mean? And that's something to worry about when they're being able to continue this bullshit. I believe, yes, there's beings up above helping, but I don't, I don't believe that the people down here, like us, I don't think we're supposed to sit around and just wait for them to do so. You feel me? Because they're literally destroying the planet and destroying the masses. And we're literally just letting them and talking about it like little wussies. Like, that's like being at school and you're watching a bully everyone and all your friends, and you're just talking about it like you're figuring out everything that he does. But when you could have just let your balls drop and knocked him out. I believe the universe is sending energy to knock him out, but we're letting them manipulate the energy. You feel me? Like, we can't let them manipulate the energy because they already took precautions of what to do next. So they can continue to manipulate the energy. We're not supposed to allow them. What do you think World War III is about? Us not allowing them. And they know it. Because the thing is, this hurts that's about to hit soon is past the year that we're already in. So the thing about higher hertz, it deals with quantum energy, which is like time traveling to the future. So when a higher hertz is past 2023 or at 2023 already, it's going to put you in a mindset of you already figured this shit out. Because something I noticed, 2070 was the year they was supposed to release the documents of COVID. They were saying they were literally going to wait 50 years to release it. But the thing is, we've been getting hit from past life, past tense, or a time that people will say we didn't exist, but your soul did. And your soul is tied to the solar system, which is tied to the Akashi records. So when it's going back in time, it's a lower hertz than the year that we're in. So people are remembering from a past tense participle, which is bringing back memory in the present, like you time traveled in the past. But the thing is, it deals with your soul. So when you're talking soul, your soul is actually your subconscious. Your conscious is like what you use on a daily basis, which deals with your perspective, right? So as these hurts are hitting the soul, it's actually teaching the spirit to cooperate, to work in the 6D and higher. Because this planet, this realm, is about to be the sixth realm, or the 6D. I believe it is the sixth realm, most likely out of the 9 that's in this realm. Because the 9 realms deals with the 362, and the 369, 3 is actually the time that they had on this planet, right? So as it rises to 3,692 hertz, that's when their time is done. We're rising to, literally right now as I speak, from today is March, I think the 20th, or March the 17th. It's March the 17th to the April. We're going to be entering, or 6D will actually be settling, and I think that's the 27th when 6D settles. And those days going into April 1st, that will actually be the entering of 70. So that's when the gates will start opening above, right? There's already gates opening below, 321, right? Because the thing is, it's a loop thing. It's like some Doctor Strange type shit, right? When the energy hits, it allows it to be an opening, right? That's why all the stars come together, because it creates vortexes. And when you unlock yourself, you actually create a vortex between you and the spirit realm or the cosmos, just like off of Sandman. And that's the shit they're scared about, right? This is what's going on right now. So as these hurts hit, it's going to put you to a remembering of you seeing or feeling what happened in the future or what could have happened in the future, right? If you don't do something now, right? But that's what's going to happen, if you're scared or not. And a lot of people are going to shift because it happened 2017. They know it did. And they're going to try to move in once the 6D hits. Because once the 6D hits, and at this time is X's sparing out and shit, it's going to hit more of the US, right? The thing is, it was hitting more of South America, India, Australia, China, UK, Canada, Alaska. And as the energy actually got bigger, the radius of the target widened out. So as it got wider, it started to reach more of the US because we're more inland from the CMEs. It's just once it gets to M and X, it starts to hit the US more. So 6D is hitting us because we're responding to the X's more. Like the right side of the Greenwich line, they experience 6D 2021 and last year. Reason why they're so messed up, because they're trying to still interfere that, right? Just causing all those weathers. It's kind of making change because India is actually about to be no more desert. Um, uh, it's just crazy though, because now as 6D settles west of the Greenwich line, 7D begins to settle in that area. Reason why they see more stuff going on, because that's where all the that's where the cytogenetics and everything happen inside of the new lands, right? East east of the Greenwich line is the new lands. West of the Greenwich line is the Mu lands. Even though there is a land of Mu that's over by 144 degrees, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it due to energy that they named it off. Mu and Nu is the energy they're interrupting with the moon and Saturn, right? And CERN, because they need CERN to connect to the sun, which changes the color in the moon, right? It's really the sun though. They're trying to attack the sun. The delta force of the US is the fake delta force that goes against the sun, because their delta force is actually the UV force coming from the sun. So knowing them, they're trying to block the shit. Reason why we're dealing with gas in the air and people are getting sick from it. It's like parasitical moon creatures, right? Which they discovered on the uh, Israel satellite that they have. But knowing Israel was Jacob, and Jacob is Yaqub, and Yaqub is Satan. So it deals with the gift of Zeus. the the parasitical nano, which when you look in the air, you don't see rain. You see nanoparticles floating around due to these metals, which I'm saying that's going to be part of the EMP. But to fight everything off due to the air, you have to keep your immune system high, meaning you can't keep ingesting a lot of meat because that's where any disease even came from STDs and everything. And the shit that they're trying to push is the 80s all over again when it comes to these STDs. It's just this one's supposed to be the one that's combined with all of those, right? Because they man-made all of them. They did the cloud shit, which is just a military thing, like Operation Orange. You feel me? They used that in World War One, World War Two, and they're using it now in World War Three because they know motherfuckers about to start shifting. It happens literally like every 120 years. It's just this time, yeah. Unless this happened every other time and they use the clouds, like I said, to rebuild the magnetics field. So a peaceful way to interrupt it is for everyone indigenous to get grounded and send the tent to the air. Because the ground and the air and the light are the elements. And when they're interrupting you, they're interrupting nature. So the way to interrupt them is to tap into nature. And the plasma will begin to rise up just from the bottom of your feet. And that's when you send the directions like martial arts. When you channel in the chi, you send the direction the energy proceeds in with your hands. And you receive it from above, either with your hands, your third eye, and below your feet and your hands. You can do both with your hands. And you also use your hands to kill these cells that are not part of you with your life force. If you ever seen movies and they put their hands beside their head, focus on your chi with your hands and then start playing with it. Like, start seeing what else you can connect to. And if you feel that heat within your hand, that heat, that plasma is the healing. The heat that's inside of your hand that actually comes out, that plasma, is the same heat that comes out the sun. So if you ever wanted to use your right hand to find it, you look for the heat. And through the clouds, the sun connects to the hand or the third eye where you receive the infrared light. That's what the whole snake is a symbolism about when it comes to Kundalini. The snake has a pit organ in its head because you know snakes can't see. They go off of their other senses and vibrations. They go off of frequency at the end of the day. Just kind of like Neo when he got shot in his eyes and he was blinded. He went off of frequency after that. He could still see, but he was seeing rainbow colors or X-ray vision because he was going off of frequency, and he still did what the fuck he was supposed to do as a blindsman. It's the thing. Just because your eyes are closed don't mean you can't see. It's a good thing about meditation because everything becomes clairvoyant when you detach from what's not a part of you. That's when you're allowing entities to attack the soul. Like the Rome, whatever, your shit could still be tied with the Vatican, and you could still free yourself from it. That's when it's a higher conscious involved with getting you there, especially if you was never thinking of doing so. It's just when you stop believing in yourself, you get out your life purpose. When you think you should do this and that from given perspectives on TV and everyone around you, that has nothing to do with you. Your soul is here for a mission. We are guardians of the galaxy, nigga. We are guardians of this planet. And you're going to see as your ascension rises. It's just, we actually have to guard this. Because when it's time to us to rebuild, they can no longer be here. And when it's time for us to rebuild, we're going to have to rebuild it the right way it was. Because the planet is already working on it. Meaning the oceans is about to open up, making rivers all through the United States. It's just, that's what happens when you clean off parasitical invaders. The man-made shit is being dried up. It's being dried up. The bodies of the ocean can never be dried up. But its charge can be used for growth and energy. You feel me? Food and energy. So, I mean, it's not really nothing to worry about. Especially when you know fear is just a blockage from your awareness and really doesn't work out good for you. It's really how you get fucked up in situations. Because when you have fear, you have no belief. That's like saying the same prayer every day. Like, you didn't believe in it the first time, so you have to keep saying it. That deals with your belief, nigga. Because usually when you say one prayer one time, it just works more than you doing it over and over again. That's just something I've noticed. But nothing works without belief. That deals with your life force. If you don't believe in yourself, then your nervous system picks up on that. That's why it's really better just to be in balance, because then your nervous system or your soul actually does the work more than your spirit. And during that, the soul is actually teaching the spirit. Because mostly the spirit's been taught by the world, and that corrupted the soul, the heart, the makerba, to your solar power. It deals with a lot of symbolism too. On the Lion of David, the power of Solomon. Free your mind, nigga. It will all make sense once you do it. It's all up to you. Nobody else can do it for you but you. Master yourself, for you are the master teacher within self. We got a job to do.